Well, hello, everyone. Welcome into Saturday Night Sports Talk. This is Walt from the House Talk, and this is episode, Steve, I want to say 6 or 7.
7.
Is it 7?
Yeah.
Okay, episode 7, which I don't know. Oh, it says it right there. When I typed
that's
that
where
in.
I got it.
And I typed that in, and I don't even know. We're off to a good start, everybody.
Yeah.
But welcome in. Welcome in, everybody. Hope everybody's doing well. Thanks for those that are coming over. Hey, Donna Jaworski, good to see you. Good to see you. And I want to say hi to Juan Rodriguez, Explosive Phoenix, Samantha Lowe, Kay Atwood, Chris Disney World Adventures. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. We appreciate it. We're going to have a fun time tonight, but we're going to get a little controversial tonight. We've kind of kept it lighthearted for the first 6 weeks, but we've always said from the beginning that there's going to be times during this sports night where we talk controversy. And this is our first one, but we're going to keep it on the lighter end. And we're going to talk youth sports. And there can be a lot of controversy in youth sports when it comes to a lot of different topics. Let me say hi to Disney Time. Welcome in Disney Time as well. And we're going to get right into that in a little bit. But before so, let me tell you, get my partner, John Hill, Steve, to talk about his channel. I can't talk tonight.
It's all right.
Go ahead, buddy.
What's up, everybody? Thank you all for being here. We greatly appreciate it. I go live on Mondays. I've been live, I think, 6 weeks now. So couldn't be happier. The outreach of support and love is just amazing. I really appreciate all you guys. So couldn't be happier to be here with you tonight as well, Walt, as always. So
thanks, pal. I appreciate it. Yep. And of course, we go live every Tuesday and Thursday. Melissa and I go live on Tuesdays with Mouse Madness. Melissa's with me on Thursdays for Disney Talk Thursdays. And of course, Steve and I are here on Sportsnite Saturdays. It's great. We follow Dan, with Disney Fiasco, which I'm sure a lot of you were there. But I appreciate you being here. We are over 1,300. We're up and down with 1,300. We're there for a little bit, and then we're not, and then we're there. It's the roller coaster ride of the subscribers. But we want to thank everybody who subscribes, gives us a thumbs up, whatever it might be. We just appreciate the support. I want to say hi to Jeff Dole Dad as well. Welcome in. Definitely appreciate you being here. And let's get started. It is good to see you, Don. I know it's been a little while. I'm glad you're here. It's good to see you again. Jeff says, oh, man, this topic. I run after-school programs and some sports. I better just listen and not type. Jeff, you can do whatever you want. Look, the one thing I always say about these streams, I know Steve pretty well, and I know myself. You are all entitled to your opinion. We respect everyone's opinion, whether it's in agreement with us or not. I have no problem with people having a difference of opinion as long as we all keep it in respectful and understand that we're here just talking topics. And a lot of times I'll hear opinions from other people and I'll get something from it. I may not necessarily always agree with it. I'm sure Steve agrees, but you get something from it. It helps to educate where other people are coming from in their opinions. Would you agree, Steve?
absolutely. We respect everybody's opinions. We just ask that you respect our views and opinions as well. And then it is good to hear a different side of things, especially from multiple people. If I'm always debating with the same person all the time, and they can't convince me, but then somebody else has a really great point or can explain it a whole lot better way, then it opens your eyes to different things. So here's
true.
my parents are nuts. Jeff got it out of the way right away.
Wait a minute, I'm a parent.
So we'll get into that in a minute. So.
Well, let's get right into it. When you talk youth sports, youth sports have come a long way from when I was a kid. Okay, I grew up in the 70s, played sports in the 70s, early 80s. It's just a different animal today than what it used to be back then. Now, Steve's a lot younger than me, so he may not, I don't know how much different it was for him when he grew up. Look, sports were important and you wanted to win, but it has become almost a training facility for people to get their kids into professional sports today than what it used to be in the past. And we're going to kind of get into that. Steve, what about you when it comes to past and where we are presently?
Yeah, I grew up in the 80s and 90s, so I shared, I think my I won't say upbringing, but my sports experience through schooling and up till I became an adult was very similar to yours. It differs greatly from, in my opinion, it differs greatly from what it is today. So, we grew up the same way. We'll get into it. We'll get into all the specifics. So,
yeah, absolutely. I want to say hi real fast to Arjon Richardson here. Good to see you, Richard. That's all right, buddy. I appreciate you being here. Jelly's Journeys. I'm not sure if I said hi to you, and my Disney Park memories want to say hi to you as well. And yeah, definitely, it's just a different mentality now from when I was a kid. I mean, we all had those players that were really good players, guys that were just better than us, or girls that were just better. But it's just a different animal today. But especially when it comes to participation in the winning. And I know we want to touch on that topic. Steve, where do you want to go first? Do we want to talk about that, or we want to go somewhere else first?
We might as well just dive right into it.
Okay, go ahead. I'll let you start, and I'll kind of chime in as well.
So I'm one of those people, and again, please respect everybody's opinions here. I am one of those people. Thanks, Jeff. It's been about 3 weeks since I've had a haircut, maybe 4. So, but I'm one of those people that does not like the way youth sports is run today. I've been a coach. I started coaching. I had my first assistant coaching job when I was 12 years old, believe it or not. I had my first head coaching job when I was 15 years old, and I've been coaching pretty much ever since then. Then I've coached every sport that I could possibly think of, from tennis to baseball to softball, football, soccer. I've coached pretty much everything that's around here anyways. It was a whole different animal back when I coached and what it is today. When we coached, it was there's a way to coach and way to teach your kids and instill the values of the world into your kids without bubbling everybody. I call it putting a bubble around everybody, and you don't keep score anymore. You don't. Everybody gets a participation trophy, and the millennial stereotype of the world right now is based on that. And I think it's basically led into the way people are brought up and live their lives. I got people that work with me that I hire that are younger, coming right out of school right now, that believe that in that mentality that everything should be fair right out of the gate. They don't care if somebody's been working 20 years. They don't care if if somebody's doing a harder job. It's everybody should be making the same. Everybody should be getting the same pay rate. And when they also don't think they have to show up to work every day. And I attribute a lot of that to that same mentality. If you're gonna bubble a kid and teach him, and don't get me wrong, guys, there are two different. I'm not trying to say that it's not fair to everybody to try to bring them up in positive upbringing, because you can do that in different ways. But I did it as a coach and as a player by instilling values in it. If a kid struggled or messed up, then you use positive reinforcement. You don't say, it's okay, we all won, it's all roses and sunshine. Kids need to experience loss. They need to experience loss in life to become better people, in my opinion. You learn from your mistakes. I'm a huge believer in the fact that you learn from your mistakes. So, but you do it positively. You reinforce positively and you correct positively. And if you can do that and have a great relationship with the kids, and again, I believe with Jeff, it all starts with the parents and the coaches, then you can instill great values into the kids without letting them all win all the time.
Good points. Absolutely. And I think you and I are going to be on the same page with a lot of this. This is what I'll say about when it comes to participation and trophies and things of that nature. Growing up, I was never the best athlete. I was pretty good at baseball, really good at baseball. I was a pretty good athlete overall, but not the best athlete on the field, not the best teams on the field. That being said, for me, I agree, the participation trophies, I don't understand. I always believe that if I wanted to win and get that trophy, work harder, get better, do the best you can. To me, just playing is the trophy, first off, because you get the chance to play, okay? I have a nephew who has cerebral palsy who is refined to a wheelchair for the rest of his life. He'll never get a chance to play baseball or football or basketball. So part of the trophy to me is just being able to be out there and playing and participating in that respect. There was plenty of times I never won, and I went home with nothing. But I understood that, you know what, I played the best I could. Our team did the best we could, and we just weren't good enough. It was that simple. And I think that's part of the mindset that we've lost in today's world is, well, I don't think it's fair that we lost. Well, not everybody wins. That's why, if that were the case, I'd be playing for the Orioles right now.
Exactly.
I would love to be playing for the Orioles right now. You know what I'm saying? I'm not good enough to play for the Orioles right now or ever. So no matter how bad they are, I'm not good enough to play for them. It is what it is. And we have to have that mindset. I love the fact that I agree with you. You may not be good at a position, and as a coach, and I coached for 10 years as well in several different sports, positive reinforcement is the best way to go. But understand that you also have to say, this is what you need to improve on.
Yeah,
this is what you do well. This is what you need to improve on. And it's the balance of both that's going to make the big difference.
Absolutely. I do the same exact thing. And I see it too often. It just, the kids that are being brought up this way, and a lot of it has to do, I mean, some kids succeed greatly, don't get me wrong, with this whole philosophy, but the kids that I see coming in that I have to manage at my job, they come in and I use the same kind of positive reinforcement I did when I coached, and it helps them get better. There's a way to do it and a way not to do it. And if for lack of a better term, if you're going to baby them, they're not going to grow up. They're not going to learn the fact that life is not always going to be fair to them. They're not going to be understanding that they're not always going to get the job they want because they think they just sheer deserve it, as opposed to earning it. And that's my biggest problem. Is I don't think there's a sense of earning, and you're not going to learn from your mistakes when everybody has this. Now, you can still recognize everybody. You can still congratulate people, and again, like, use positive reinforcement, like we said. But there's ways to do it, and then there's ways not to do it. And I unfortunately don't like the way we're doing it right now.
I agree 100%. That being said, Jeff says in there in the chat, he says, coaching for growth is different than coaching for wins. It is different, but you have to have a balance of both, because with almost any sport in almost any league, everybody wants to win, no matter it's at the lowest level or the highest levels of AAU or high school or college. Everybody wants to win. It's being able to balance both. You can grow players and make them better and still compete to win. You can do both. Yep. I've seen it. I've done it. I've witnessed it. I've coached it. You can still develop. You have to pick and choose where. Maybe you develop the player at the practice field, or maybe you develop the player in certain areas where you put them into games that are going to put them in the best position to succeed. But it can be done on both levels. It's being able to balance both.
Absolutely.
That's how I see it for me, and that's the way it's a challenge to do that. But you find the ways. I mean, we would put certain players in games who maybe weren't the best players. If we were up by a lot or down by a lot, they were getting their minutes, and they were getting a lot of minutes, because either we were up by a lot and it didn't matter, or we were down by a lot and it didn't matter. God bless them, but I wanted them to get the on-field experience or on-court experience to understand, you still need to play hard no matter what the level is, and try to play well.
Yep. And that's exactly the point right there. If there's no consequence for failure, they're not going to get better, and they're not going to have the drive and the desire to get better either.
Right, exactly. It's all about understanding the importance of wanting to win. And, my youngest son and I, we play volleyball on Wednesday nights in a men's league. For years, we were never really that good, and we wouldn't win. And then we started to get better. And 3 years in a row, we went to the championship. We didn't win. We lost. Well, we went home with nothing. But we got better, and we started to win. It's just part of what you do. You do what you have to do to get better. And God bless them. I love that every single child comes out and plays. And every child should come out and play. That's why it's there. We want them to play. We really do. There's nothing better than seeing a child who goes from this level of a player to this level of a player.
Yep.
When you see the progression over time and see how they've gotten better, there's no better reward, win or lose, in my opinion.
Absolutely. And from a coach's perspective, there's no greater reward to your job than to take what you're given and make something better out of it. And today, and don't get me wrong, the kids today, it all starts with the coaches and the parents, and the way they are disciplined and the way they are taught to play the game and how they are to get better is what instills them for the rest of their life. And I coached very successfully for I don't know how many years, and I was not a yeller. I didn't have to yell at my kids to get them to do what I needed them to do, because I respected them, but I made them better based on positive reinforcement, and not It's okay. Everybody's gonna,
Right.
everybody's equal, because they're
Right.
not everybody's equal, and it's not that way.
Right.
And as a coach, you got to realize how to develop the weaker players better, and everybody to unify them as a team.
I agree. I want to say hi to Greg Cooper in the chat who just came in. Dan's in here. Disney Dan, thanks Dan for being here. RVing to Disney. I'm not sure if I said hi to you. And Meg's in here. Mickey's Magic. Welcome in, Meg. Good to see you. I do want to touch on one thing that RVing to Disney said, and I think it's a very good point. She said, when I was younger, I was cut from my softball team. Mm-hmm. Rightfully so. But my sisters were good at it, and I wasn't. I cried. But because I was cut, I tried out for volleyball and was amazing at it. I still play today. That's the other thing. Maybe you're not good at one sport. You might be amazing at another sport.
Well, and Jelly put in there too, though, that she likes that everyone can play, because if not, she would have never gotten to play. I agree to that on some level, but there's different levels of participation. So you have, and where I'm from anyways, you have league balls, which is just your local areas. Then you have school, and then you have travel or AAU or whatever it's called.
Yes.
There are different levels to where I think the lowest level is where the competition is going to be more across the board, even where everybody can participate.
Right.
But I don't agree at the school when you get to a competitive level of school or travel that everybody should get to play. And when I was coaching, one of the last years I coached, they made us keep every kid. I had 52 kids on an elementary basketball team.
Oh my
God.
God.
I had 52 kids, and I made it work because they made me make it work. But we had to split the team up. I had to have the core players that played all season, and then I had to split the others into 3 groups of 3, and I had to play every single kid in every game that they showed up to play.
Right. Yeah.
I made that work because I had to. But that does not teach the kids anything, and it does not give them any sense, because if there's that many people that get to come out and play, they don't get to play. There's just not enough time.
There's not enough time in a game. Jelly's starting to make a good point. Everyone should be able to play. Absolutely. There's no, but like you said, there's different leagues and different levels for everyone to play. Look, again, I'm going to revert back to it. We play volleyball on Wednesday nights. Well, there are league levels, okay? We're in the second to lowest league level. We're not good enough to play at the higher levels. They're not going to take us at the higher levels. So we understand that if we want to play, we have to play at the lower levels. That's okay. That's part of the learning process. We've moved up 2 levels. Well, we're up to the 3rd highest level now. But we started at the low. We've gotten better, and now we're moving up levels. That's how you do it. Jelly, you're right. Everybody should get a chance to play. It's just balancing. Yeah. I'm going to use that a lot, but balancing is so important, and understanding your level of what you can do. Look, I can't play basketball for the life of me. I'm not going to try out for an AAU basketball team. Guess what? I'm not going to make it. I mean, I'm just not.
And I don't know how different parts around the country do it. They may not be as fortunate as I am, but everywhere I've ever been, there's always a level for youth sports that everybody can participate in at some level. It's not necessarily school ball. It's not necessarily, at travel or AAU ball, whatever the case that is. But there is a level in everywhere I've ever been, they're at the local level that, they have X amount of kids that want to play, and everybody gets to play against other players, but it's not a school level and it's not a travel level. So I don't know if that's the case everywhere. Mm-hmm. Maybe some people aren't as fortunate to have that, but from everywhere I've been, that's the way, that's always been there for everybody to at least have something to do.
Yeah, and I think Meg makes a point. I'm going to touch on that. She says, if you're playing competitively, though, you should have levels. And that's the key. You do have levels, but it's understanding what level you need to be at. Okay? For instance, it's understanding where you are and the level of play. And I'll give you an example. We played in a Catholic youth league basketball, okay? It was supposed to be about fun. You can be competitive and you can want to win, but every player had to play a certain amount of minutes every single game. You had to play a certain amount of minutes. So when we would go into every single season, I would sit the parents down and say to them, every single kid on this team is going to play such and such amount of minutes. Some will play more, some will play less, but I promise you, they're all going to play at least this amount of minutes. You need to understand that that's the rule. The problem is understanding where you are. It's not always going to be you're going to win the championship. Everybody, at certain levels, not everybody's going to play. Like at high school, you might be the 12th guy on the bench. You're probably never going to see the court. But at the level we played, everybody plays, and you need to understand that.
Yep,
You know,
absolutely.
That's the key.
Yep.
Go ahead. Go ahead, Sam. I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. Miguel even says he coached high school, and the biggest problem is the parents. And I think as a coach, you have to get a handle on the parents at the beginning. And I did this every year. I had an open door policy with my parents. They also were under the impression, they were of the understanding that I was the coach. If they had something to say, they could say it to me. I did not want them yelling at their kids while I was out there. I didn't want them, doing anything. If they had a problem, they could come to me. And by having those meetings with the parents every year at the beginning of the year, explaining like you just did, explaining what they can expect out of me as a coach and what they can expect out of their kids,
yes.
That solves a ton of problems. And I think that's where we lack today is, and like this whole premise that we're talking about here, I believe is at the coaches and parents level.
Sure.
That's where I believe it's at.
Yeah.
And I think that that's where it's different back when we were there versus now.
Right.
And Meg said something too. She said it is hard too. Playing sports through high school competitively, hardest part for her was managing her schoolwork and sports. And I completely get that, Meg. I was a 3-sport athlete in school, and I graduated valedictorian in my class. I had all the schoolwork, everything, but it just depends on, I didn't do much else outside of that. So it depends on, again, how successful you want to be at that as well. For me, school came first. And then sports came, which, you can't miss sports, but if you didn't get your schoolwork done, you didn't get good grades, you couldn't play sports. And I think we had to have a C average when I was in school. If you got anything lower than a C, you were suspended from the team until you got the grades up.
Gotcha. Yeah, true. I want to say thank you to Chris, Disney World Adventures. He just gave me a $2 super chat. Thank you, Chris. You didn't have to do that. Everybody, please thank Chris in the chat, please. That was very, very, very generous. Thank you, Chris. I appreciate that. AJC Magic TV, I want to say hi to you. I don't think we said hi. Steve, Meg wants to know what you coached.
I coached football, soccer, softball, baseball, tennis, baseball, basketball. I'm missing something. I don't remember. I'm missing something in there, but there were 7 different sports that I coached.
Nice. Very nice.
Never hockey, though. We didn't have hockey around here.
Nice. There you go. Gotcha. I coached soccer, baseball, and basketball, and I reffed volleyball. So,
did you have your license to ref?
I don't anymore. I used to.
Yeah, I had I was also an official as well, and I had football, baseball, softball, and basketball, and volleyball. I did volleyball too.
Gotcha. Very nice. Very nice. So it's all about, again, I think everyone should play, but I think we all need to understand, look, I love both of my sons very, very much. And when they were little, I told them, I said, what sport would you like to play? And they're like, we don't want to play any. I said, well, you're going to play one. Yeah. So I'll let you pick what it is, but you're playing something because it's important to be active. But I understood what I had in my sons. Look, I love both of my sons, and this is not a knock on either one of them. I knew they weren't going to be the next Michael Jordan. They both picked basketball, but I knew what they were, okay? I knew they weren't going to put a lot of time into it. I wasn't going to force them to put the time into it. If they loved it enough, we would do it. I would help them. We'd put the time into it. They didn't want to. They just wanted to play. Fair enough. I knew what they were, and I knew that. I knew what they were. I knew what they would do when it came to playing time, and I was their coach. They were the coach. I was the coach of their teams. But it's just understanding that.
Well, and I think it's extremely important for every child to be able to play some youth sport. Now, how you pick the sport and at what level you want them to play at or whatever is fine. But there's something about youth sports that prepares you for life. And that's why we're talking about this, because it teaches camaraderie, it teaches teamwork, it teaches all the things that you should have, that you should possess if it's done right. And that's why some of the kids that I see come through my employment here are not possessing some of those skills that we did back when we were growing up through there.
Right. No, it's true. Look, the thing is, and you just like Jelly's Journeys or RV into Disney was saying earlier, Walter was a pretty good basketball player, and so was Mason. They weren't great, but they were pretty good. But Walter is a really, really good volleyball player. Mm-hmm. He can play. He's a really good volleyball player. I not to pump him up or anything, but he is. He's one heck of a player in volleyball for sure. But but that's his niche. That was his niche. Now I do want to move on from there. We talk about sports and talk about youth sports and starting players young. Let's get into safety of sports. Okay. Mm-hmm. And really this goes to all sports. It's not just, everybody thinks hockey, football, but it's really something that can be said to all the sports and the importance of safety. What are your thoughts there?
Well, to me, safety is the number one thing above all else. I think it's extremely important for coaches to be educated to be able to coach. I think that's it. And using football for an example, a coach needs to know how to teach kids the right way to hit somebody without getting hurt.
Called fundamentals.
Yep. And I think today a lot of coaches are coaching just because they want to coach their kid without knowing what they need to know. And I think safety should be the most important thing. At my job, I work for a corporation that's worldwide, and safety is the number one thing across everything. We want everybody to go home with the same number of fingers and toes. That's what I tell everybody. I'm also our safety manager at work too. So I teach this, and I carried it over from youth sports. The main thing in sports, above all else, is safety. If your kids aren't safe and they get hurt, they won't be playing anymore. So you got to teach kids in baseball. You got to teach them the proper way to slide. You got to teach them the proper way to field, the way to catch a ball so they don't run into people. You got to teach them to communicate. Communication's a big skill in sports. You got to teach them to communicate so people don't, run into the fence when they're running for a baseball. You got to teach kids how to tackle correctly so they don't get neck injuries and head injuries. And safety is above all the most important thing in youth sports. Should be the number one thing in youth sports.
Yes. Safety is primary in anything we do, especially when it comes to our children. There's nothing more important than safety. And when it comes to sports, a lot of times you can prevent injury when things are done fundamentally correctly. And how you do that is from repetition of practice over and over and over again. You know what I'm saying? How to tackle, how to field a ground ball, how to slide, how to run, how to track a ball in the outfield. Communication between the outfielders to say to the kid in left field who's tracking the ball, you're close to the fence. You're 5 feet away, so he's ready for it, and he understands where he is. There's a lot of different things that go into that. Fundamentals play such a big part in safety, and when you don't know the fundamentals, that's where people get hurt.
Absolutely.
I've seen so many guys, and Meg, you talk about equipment, and I'm going to get to that in a moment, because that's the other one that's extremely important that I think we lack at some of the lower levels, and I understand why that is, but you're right. Fundamentals have to be key. When you're trained properly on how to play a game, it's going to really help to keep you healthy. Period.
Absolutely, 100%. We do fundamentals. There'll be sports that I used to coach where my kids didn't touch a ball for the first 3 weeks just because we would go over everything else between stretch. I think stretching is important to keep kids injury free. We stretch every day. We went through conditioning drills to make sure that they were prepared to handle what was good they were being presented with. And I think it's from start to finish. It's a big process, and every single step along the way is important to keep kids from getting hurt.
Yeah, and equipment is very important too. Whether that equipment is helmets, cups, batting gloves, this, that, or the other, different things. You name it, you need it. Especially in football, you have to have the proper equipment on.
And you may not think you do, and this was probably a little too much information, but I used to be a catcher in high school, and I didn't wear a cup catching. And my coach forced me to wear a cup. And the first day I hit it, I got hit square pretty bad. So I had the cup in for the first time I ever got hit, but I caught for 3 years without wearing one. And
you got lucky.
I got extremely lucky. It was my freshman year in high school. My coach asked, which I was fortunate enough we didn't have a whole lot of catchers in my school. I was fortunate enough to play both JV and varsity. I caught both groups. And the varsity coach made me wear them,
right?
And I'm thankful to this day for it. So.
Right, but it's funny you said that because I was going to bring up my same kind of story. It's the importance of why. Look, fundamentals are so important, but equipment is important too. Look, I played shortstop in high school, and I played shortstop my entire life. I was a really good fielder. Okay, I could hit the ball okay, but I could catch everything. It didn't matter. I won like gold gloves all the time. But I'll tell you what, I didn't wear a cup playing shortstop. Well, I was on a field one time and the ball took a bad hop and it hit me.
Yep.
I had to come out of the game. I was vomiting. I had to go. They called the ambulance. You have got to wear your equipment, all of it, and wear it properly. And you'd be surprised who doesn't, and it can cost you.
Well, and Arding just made a really good comment. I think she said everyone should play, but not everyone should compete. It's a lot safer when you're a player and not just a participant. I agree with what she's saying, because I think that it's important for everybody to play, but you also got to recognize what level you're playing in, because if you believe that every kid should play whatever level it is, you're going to get kids that'll absolutely run them over. And that's just because if you're lost on a field of any kind and you get in the way, you're going to get run over and you're going to get hurt.
Right. Hey, Cargo, welcome in. Everybody say hi to Cargo. Glad to see you, Cargo. Meg says equipment isn't foolproof, though, and it's not foolproof. No, it's not at all, because different levels are going to have different quality of equipment, and that's an unfortunate thing, but it is unfortunately the way of life.
If the equipment was 100% foolproof, then you would have a bubble around each kid that you're wearing, and
Right.
all they can do is make the equipment to give the kid the best chance to not get hurt.
Right. But again, safety is key, and part of it, and we've said it, equipment, fundamentals, understanding the game, understanding how to play the game is important as well. So many people don't know how to play the game, and that'll hurt you too.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, that goes back to the different levels of playing, and if you got to play every kid, one of them's going to get hurt along the way, because they're, if basketball, somebody's got to post them up, they're not going to know how to defend them. They're going to catch an elbow right in the jaw or something. And it's across all sports. The knowledge of the game and the skill level of the other players you're playing against, especially in baseball, a pitcher throwing at you 70 mile an hour, if you don't know what you're doing, you're going to get hurt. So
yeah, it's true. I agree. I've seen so many guys that on a ball like that, a ball on the inside of the plate, they'd actually lean into it. Instead of jumping back, they would jump into the pitch. And I'm like, what are you doing?
Our coach used to teach us, we leaned into it, but we turned away from everything. We protected our head and turned into it. So again, it goes down to how the coach teaches you what to do and how effective it is, because that's obviously the back shoulder bone, shoulder blade is going to be the best place to take a ball. So
yep, I agree 100%. Kay Atwood says her coworker's son plays several sports but always gets hurt. He needs to be in bubble wrap at all times. It's true. There are some kids that just, no matter what, they get hurt. Meg says there should be an emphasis on head injuries, though, for all coaches and players. You can break a leg, sure. That will heal. Your brain doesn't always heal. Getting baseline testing helps determine impact. It does. And I agree with that. And that's, again, but part of it, look, very few head injuries in baseball. Just doesn't happen that often. It does, but not that often. It doesn't happen that often in basketball either. It's just the biggest sport where you see that is probably football and then some hockey. But you're right, Meg. That all has to be taken. More and more we're seeing, what's it called, CTI?
Yeah, I think so.
That it's important.
I can't remember what it stands for, but I think you're right. And it is, and that's why there's becoming a bigger emphasis on that. And again, it all goes back to fundamentals and teaching kids how to take hits, how to do the right things to help prevent head injuries. Because, yeah, she's right. Head injuries are the worst kind of injury you possibly get.
Absolutely. Nothing. I agree. That and your heart are your single most important part of the body, in my opinion. And it's true. I want to say hi to Brian. Brian, welcome in, buddy. AJC Magic TV says, we had a story of a football player who got concussions. His dad went to court to have the school not let him play. His mom and the ex-wife countersued the dad to let him play because the kid wanted to play. Look, the kid may want to play, but he can't, at certain ages, he can't make that decision. As a parent, you have to make the right decision. Absolutely. He may be unhappy. It may make him, pardon the expression, pissed. But, and I apologize, folks, but you know what? He's going to be mad then. He's going to be mad. If it's going to keep him healthy and keep him with a quality of life for the rest of his life, that's the way it has to be. Whether he's going to be my best friend anymore or not, he's going to be alive and he's going to have a quality of life. That's what matters.
Jeff says it's CTE, by the way. CTE.
Okay, CTE. I'm sorry. Thank you, Jeff. I couldn't remember what it was, but it's CTE. Yeah, absolutely. And we're seeing more and more of that every single day. And it's too bad. Jelly's Journey says her friends kid is like that. She doesn't even play sports. I call her bubble wrap because she needs to be wrapped up too. That's so funny.
Well, and that's kind of a good point, because there are some people that are just uncoordinated. It's
Sure.
to no effect or fault of their own. They're just not coordinated people. And that's the kind of people that when you get thrown into a competitive league or something like that, those are the people that get hurt just because they don't know and they cannot protect themselves. So there are people like that, though. And you got to be able to recognize when you're putting yourself in a dangerous spot and not do that.
I agree. Now, speaking of training and learning the games and this, that, and the other, more and more we're seeing year-round training of players where they don't even take time off. Whether it's basketball, of course, basketball usually starts in October with practices, and it goes through May or June, especially in the pro levels and higher. But they don't even take time off. And same thing at the college and high school levels and the prep levels. You're seeing more kids play AAU ball year-round, summer basketball, summer camps, this, that, and the other. Baseball, same thing. They'll start playing inside. They'll train inside. They'll take batting practice. They'll take fielding practice, this, that, and the other. They'll travel to other states where it is warmer, where they can play ball. What do you think about year-round training, Steve, in this respect?
I don't have a problem with it as long as it's the only thing they're doing, because I think you need to be, I played 3 sports. I think you need to be active constantly. So I played 3 sports and I had a summer league. So I was playing year-round back then. If you're trying to do AAU travel ball year-round along with basketball at the school level or football, when you start doing that many types of things, then I think you are making the kid possibly more prone to injuries because you're exposing him to more. But I'm okay with somebody being active all year round, depending on, I guess the intensity of what they're trying to do. I mean, if you're playing football year round, that's a whole different story than if you're playing baseball year round, if you're playing basketball. But as long as it's a league ball, or if you go from AAU and then you go to a summer league and then you do something else, I'm okay with that. If you're talking about one team practicing all year, and then like basketball, for instance, practicing all year and then starting to play games in October to January and then just continuing to practice the whole year again, I don't agree with that. But as long as the kids are active and they're not overdoing it, I don't have a problem with them playing year round.
Okay. And see, for me, I'm on the other level here. I do have an issue with that, and I'll tell you why. I think the body needs time to rest and recuperate. I don't care what age you are. I understand kids recover quicker as they get older than they do when they recover when they're younger. As they get older, they have less chance of that. But that being said, everybody has to have a chance to rest and recuperate. And when you're playing year-round, you're not giving your body that opportunity. And to me, that opens you up to even more injury possibilities. And I guess that's kind of touching on what you're saying. So I do have a problem with it. I think that you should have at least one season, winter, spring, summer, fall, whichever one it is, where you have to rest. Rest your mind, rest your body, rest your soul, and get yourself prepared. And then you can start your regiment back up. I mean, that's just me. But I think part of the reason why we see so many more injuries in sports today, in any sport, I don't care what it is, I think part of it is because the body doesn't get that chance to rest. Baseball is another one. Even in baseball, very few guys take all months off at a time. They are continually, to train. I don't know. That's just my opinion.
Well, and I don't just disagree with you. I do think the body needs time to rest, which is why when I was saying, if you go from one league, AAU, at this season, and then you go to sport or summer league, at least from my experiences anyways, there's always a gap between each season. So like if you're in AAU from October to January, then you're going to play school ball in whatever sport from the end of January, February to April. Then summer league picks up in May. There's always, from my experiences, there's always 3 to 4 weeks between different groupings. I agree with you there. You need that rest. You cannot play every day of the year. I completely agree with you 100% on that aspect.
And I don't necessarily mean every day of the year, but I think the body needs time to really recoup. And you can still exercise and lift your weights and do your cardio and things like that. But look, when you're playing sports and you know it, okay, your mind is working just as hard as your body is.
Absolutely.
Because you're it just is. I mean, you're thinking about plays, you're thinking about this, you're thinking about defense, you're thinking about offense, whatever it may be. Your mind is continuously working, and that sometimes needs a break too. But that's just me. But I do look, those that play year round, for every 20 kids to play year round, only one of them is probably going to make it to the pros, if that.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
If that.
And I guess I need to emphasize a little more. I'm not talking. I get where you're coming from, and I think I agree more with you. I'm not saying play year round constantly, because like some people are saying in the chat, you can get burned out when you're a kid. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about different things year round. So
okay.
It could be the same sport maybe, but not the same team year round. That's what I'm talking about. It could be, if you play AAU ball for 3 months, then you take that 3 or 4 weeks off. Then you play school ball for 2 or 3 months. Then you can take a couple more weeks off and play summer ball. You don't, but I also would rather rotate the sport myself, just because, like somebody said, you will get burned out of the same thing over and over again.
I agree. Thank you, Cargo. Everybody say goodnight to Cargo.
Hi, Cargo.
Appreciate you being here. Thank you so much for the support. And then, lastly, because I do want to get a little bit into, we want to do some Disney talk before we get out of here. Coaching at youth level is so important, and we kind of touched on this. Well, what else did you want to talk about? Was there a couple other, I think you said there might have been a couple other topics you wanted to touch on for youth sports, or did we nail everything we wanted to talk about?
I think we've integrated most everything we wanted to talk. The only other thing I was talking about was how what we're doing to youth sports has a big impact on society. And I think we already touched on that. Especially with employment and everything. That was that only other thing I really wanted to touch on, but I think we got it.
Gotcha. And coaching is important, folks. I do want to touch on coaching because both of us have coached. Coaching is very, very important. And I love the fact that there are dads and moms out there that step up to the plate and coach teams that people can't find coaches for. That is great. But I will say this, it can't just stop with you just showing up. If you're going to take the commitment, then understand and own the commitment and do the homework, understand the game, understand the safety side of it, understand your players. There's a lot that goes into coaching. These kids look to you for guidance. They look to you for equality. They look to you for help, everything. That's why you're there. It's not something to be taken lightly. And I think, unfortunately, we see that a lot. God bless them. Look, you're stepping up to the plate and you're doing what others don't do. And I've always said to my parents for my kids, when we sat down to that first meeting, I said, look, you're more than welcome to do this.
Yeah.
I'll step to the side. Take the team if you'd like. But if you're not going to take it, you're going to understand I'm coaching the team. But correctly. You have to coach correctly. Your thoughts on that?
Oh, no, absolutely. I think, again, that's why this goes to everything. Educators, I think, should have the most important job in this country. Anybody that's going to mold a child to be what they're going to be as an adult has the most important job in the world. And today, I think the coaches, and some of parents and coaches alike, I don't think they possess. This is not speaking about everybody by any means. It's just a lot more nowadays than it was back when we were there. I think people are just coaching just to coach, or just because they want to coach their kid without even having knowledge of the game, without having knowledge of safety, without having knowledge of teamwork and camaraderie, and instilling the values into the kids that they need to have. I think if you're going to coach, you need to do it respectfully. You need to respect the kids to get respect back from them. If you make it fun, they will want to learn. And if you teach them the correct things and the correct values, not only will they be successful and you will make them better players, but they will live in life. They will have better values in life going through their careers and work and throughout their lives. Yep.
And coaching and understanding and knowing the game that you're coaching is key to anything. It's also key to, first off, the kids having a good time, like you said, and keeping them healthy on the court. And I'll give you a prime example. One time I was reffing a basketball game, and one of the coaches for the other team comes up to me and he goes, "What do we play to? 20?" I said, "I'm sorry, sir. Are you serious?" He didn't know what they played to.
Yeah.
In volleyball, I'm like, okay.
Yep.
And it's just it's crazy. And it was like, you could tell that he didn't know the game. You could tell by the way that, God bless them, the team played. You know, they got, unfortunately, didn't play very well.
Yep.
They're running into each other too and not communicating, and people could have got hurt.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
But that's part of the problem. Is it was great that he was coaching the team and stepping up and taking this responsibility, but you have to also coach correctly and learn to do it, because it's not easy.
Yeah, I get, my biggest thing, I guess, is that people don't understand the value of coaching. To some people don't understand the value of coaching, and they don't take it as serious. If you're going, like I said, you're going to educate or mold that child, you need to be fully committed. You need to have a good understanding of how to keep them safe and how to make them better.
Yes, I agree. 100%. But youth sports, look, there's nothing like youth sports. I love the fact that we're able to play ball, have our kids play ball, whether it's basketball, football, hockey, soccer, you name it, volleyball for the girls, or any of those sports for even the girls. It doesn't matter. I just love the fact that we have the opportunity to allow our kids to play. But it's all about, the one word I always bring out is perspective. Just keep it in perspective of everything, whether it's your child, the level of play, where they are, what they can do, who's coaching them, where they're playing, who they're playing against. All of that has to be taken into perspective. You know what I'm saying? We all want the next Michael Jordan, but we're not all going to have the next Michael Jordan. As a matter of fact, there was only one group of parents that had Michael Jordan.
Yeah. Two, if you count the actor, but
no, I mean,
I know what you mean.
You know what I'm saying? So we don't get that. We're unfortunately not going to have Michael Jordan, but it is what it is. Yep. But you know what? Youth sports is wonderful. It's so important in today's society, and any society. I don't care when it was, even back in the day. Looking forward to playing ball on Saturday mornings in the youth leagues was incredible.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yep. And Jeff says the same parents who would never dream of homeschooling their kiddos often believe they can't teach coaches how to coach. It's true. It's true. Let's see here. All right. Well, you know what? That's all. That's it on youth sports. I think we really touched on everything. Tons of great comments in the chat, and I'm glad that everybody was really into this topic today. I know we've had a couple where we were talking, they were talking about other things, but everybody was really into this topic. And kudos to Steve, because Steve picked this topic tonight. So good job.
Kay asked me what my shirt says. It says, "I'm so fly." It's got Peter Pan on it. It says, I'm so fly, I never land. So, I don't know where I found the shirt somewhere, and I love it. So
that's funny. And mine's my son's college, Loyola. So
I remember, don't take this the wrong way. I remember back in the day when I was in school, getting the Mountain Dew bottle caps where you would draw the names of the teams from, and you if they made the tournament and won, you could send it off for a prize or whatever. I mean, we're talking about like back in the early 90s.
Sure.
And I got Loyola one time and I had no idea. I was like, what the heck is Loyola? So, I know now, but I didn't back then.
Yeah, well, Loyola is a Catholic private school. They're not really known for their basketball, but they are known for their lacrosse. Look up their lacrosse. They can play some lacrosse. They're usually in the national championship or Final Four. That's one sport they can play.
Yeah.
No, everybody, I appreciate you hanging in there with Youth Sports Talk. I do want to talk a little bit Disney, and we're going to talk about nighttime shows at Walt Disney World. And talk about what it is that we enjoy about the nighttime shows, go over which ones are our favorite, and let us know in the comment below which ones you like too. Now, Steve, there's the obvious nighttime shows that we all know which ones they are. But what I really like for me, and I'll start it, and then please let me know yours. I really enjoy over at Animal Kingdom some of the nighttime stuff they do over there when it comes to what I call street atmosphere, like the acrobat guys and some of the parties they have and the music that they have. I really enjoy that. What are your thoughts?
Absolutely. Yeah, you got each park has a big nighttime spectacular show, and that's what we all look forward to, but they all do have different, I agree with you 100%. It's how they engage everything else. And like you said, with Animal Kingdom, my favorite thing in Animal Kingdom, and I'm going to try to catch them all, besides walking through Pandora at night and just seeing how beautiful it is, is the nighttime show off of the tree. And I can't remember exactly.
Awakenings. It's called Awakenings.
Thank you. There's like 11 different scenes or something like that. And
it's phenomenal.
You sit out there and they have this progression from, like, I know one of them's a deer, and they basically show life throughout the history of an animal. And they have different animals and everything. And it's just, I think it's just incredible how they do that. And they don't have to do that to make anybody's day whatsoever. It's just something they do. And it's just one of those little added features that gives you something to do while you're just waiting there at night.
Yep. And they originally, when the park first opened, the first few years, several years, that was not something they did on the tree. That's pretty darn recent. I'd say within the last 5 years is when they started to do projections. Of course, they've gotten big into projections lately on the tree, and it really makes for a neat show. It's only a few minutes long. It's like less than 10 minutes, but I love it too. We could sit there and watch that thing 3 times. I wouldn't care. And I have it. I think they're like 7 minutes long, and then there's a new one every 10 or 15 minutes. I can't remember what. I think maybe even 15 minutes. But I think there's 11 different ones, and they just sit there and they rotate them throughout the night. And I've got a few of them on recording, and I like to watch them over and over again. But that's one of the things I'm planning on doing, is just parking my camera in front of the tree down in August and trying to record all those shows because I love them so much. Yep. Meg says Fantasmic and Happily Ever After, and we'll get to those in a minute as well. Shelly's Journey says she likes that everyone goes to watch the shows and she can walk on the Splash Mountain.
That's true too.
It's true though. It's absolutely true. We do that with certain nighttime shows. We will do that. We will go to the rides on certain nights, like we just will, because we know that people are going to be watching this, watching that, and we can go to those too. But do you have another one, Steve, a nighttime show that's one of your favorites?
I mean, this is slowly turning into it'll never pass Fantasmic by any means. But the first time I ever went and saw the Star Wars fireworks show blew my mind. We happened to be perfect seats, just back from behind the Chinese theater, and just the way they do the projection show and the fireworks behind it and everything. And that thing was so loud. I felt every vibration from that fireworks show. I love fireworks, but for me, that just knowing that was not the grand show of Hollywood Studios and the amount of effort they put into that, it just blew my mind.
Yep, I agree. I really love the show. I love how the thing I like most about these fireworks shows is they tell a story.
Yes.
It's not just fireworks and projections. There's a story behind it, and they're telling you something. You're being given a story, and I love it. And they do it really, really well. I love the Star Wars fireworks. I think they're fantastic. They can be emotional. They don't forget anybody in these fireworks. And then when it ends and they play the music and you see the lightsaber come up shooting into the sky, gives me chills every single time. I love it, man. I absolutely love that part.
Yeah, part. I'll be honest with you. I choose that over Fantasmic now.
Yeah, I like Fantasmic. I don't love Fantasmic. I'm with you. I'm not a big fan of it. I do love the Star Wars show. I think it's amazing. They've made it even better. It's gotten better too. But it's neat. I think part of it is the score of the music.
Oh yeah,
it's John Williams, for crying out loud. Yeah. You can't beat that. You just can't. If you can do anything, even if it's just the music with the fireworks, that would have been good enough. But to add the projections, it's just amazing.
Yeah.
The other one for me, speaking of nighttime shows, you kind of hit it. It's not really a show, but it is a show. You said it. It's Pandora.
Yeah.
We are like you. We have yet to see Pandora at night.
Oh, Waltz.
We haven't seen it. At night.
It's gorgeous. I mean, look, I love my family. When we go, we go experience it. They get tired easily. My parents are getting older. My niece is young and gets tired of walking. So they go back, and sometimes I'll go out, sometimes I won't without them. But there is nothing like Disney at night. I mean, it is absolutely gorgeous. Anywhere in Disney World. I love strolling through, looking at the lights. You get a whole new, if you're there to film, you get a whole new film experience
Absolutely.
with it. And Pandora, there is nothing like Pandora at night. I mean, it is just aesthetically amazing. I mean, it's you have to. I cannot believe you've never been there at night.
No, we haven't. We've been there twice since the park, since that part of the park opened, and both times it's always been during the day.
And Kay Atwood says we need to make sure we watch Star Wars Fireworks with 3D glasses. I didn't know that would make a difference. That's awesome.
Yes,
And
I know what she's talking about on that. Let me just touch on that real fast. I don't know where you get the glasses from, but when you look at the fireworks through the 3D glasses, they make shapes.
Oh, nice.
Like Mickey ears or other things that the fireworks explode into Mickey ears or something like that. Now, where you get the actual 3D glasses from, I don't know. Maybe Richard's still here. Richard, Pandora's not in Disneyland. You've been there.
And then Meg asked me if my nieces like to ride Dumbo. They do. The little ones do. My oldest ones will do it once every trip, maybe, but then she doesn't ever want to go on it again. So for the rest of that trip.
I think they're talking about because of the movie.
I figured that, but that's again, we're talking about two separate ones. The movie and the cartoon. Only thing in common was there was a flying elephant named Dumbo. That's other than that, there's nothing alike. So.
Yeah, it's true. I agree 100%. It's funny too. You're talking about nighttime shows. Obviously, we have to talk about Illumination's Reflections of Earth over at Epcot, which, let me just say off the bat, was one of my least favorite shows in the very beginning. But now, as I've seen it more and more, and I've seen it through these live streams, whether it's Prince Charming Dev, or whether it's Resort TV 1, or whether it's Tim Tracker, or whoever it may be, or Michael K., the more I've seen it, I actually really enjoy it now. I'm so happy that it's still going to be there when we go down in August. And I'm excited to see it now. It's actually one of my favorites now.
Illuminations has been my favorite. When I first saw Fantasmic, it was my favorite for a long time. When I saw Illuminations, though, it became my favorite show at Disney. Not just nighttime shows. Illuminations was and is still my favorite show at Disney. And I heard rumor that it was going to close. Hey, LSU Mom, how are you?
Hey, LSU Mom, welcome in. You can tell us where you got those Mickey Vision glasses from.
I heard it was going to close. I thought this was going to be the last time I was going to see it in September. I wanted a very good quality film of it just so I could always watch it forever. I got a fast pass. We got in. I put my tripod up on a trash can in the back because everybody told me they would all sit down. And I kid you not, a 7-footer came over and looked right at my camera and then just walked and turned and stood right in front of it. There was space everywhere. He could have stood, and he stood right in front of my camera. And I was livid because I wanted a good showing of this thing. And I tried to move, and there was nowhere else I could set the thing up. So I was not happy. But then I come back and hear that it's going to close September 30th. And we'll be down there. We'll be able to see it. I'm really excited because it is my favorite show.
Yeah, absolutely.
Meg said, "Where's the fast pass for Illuminations?" It's if you walk straight down from Future World down the big aisleway. It's right there between the two buildings, the two merchandise buildings. It's right there, and you just got to get there a little early.
Nice. Okay. Kay Atwood says you get your 3D glasses from the travel agent. LSU Mom says, the glasses came in a gift package that my husband's company sent to our Disney resort. Nice. Okay. Yeah, we'll have to find a way to get them because I would love to experience it that way.
You can buy. I know where you can get them. We got a pair for my niece. I didn't know what they were, and I know what they're talking about now. You can get them through having stuff delivered to your room, and then they also, I think there's a cart that sells them at night. As the nighttime goes, they start pushing those carts around. They have the little spinny things and all that. I think they have them on there as well.
Okay. Meg says, is it worth a fast pass? Here's what I have to say to that. Let me ask you this. It's kind of a two-part question. What tier is it in?
It's not. Well, it depends on what you talking about. Illuminations only?
Yes, Illuminations only.
It's not in tier A. Okay.
So it's not in tier A. So I would say, Meg, since it's not in tier A, I would say it's definitely worth a fast pass. Especially if it's one of your favorite shows.
She is saying it is in the top tier. I don't think it was when I used it.
Okay.
But here's what I do though. I don't get a fast pass to start with. When I do my three fast passes, and then I will go and get another fast pass. but by around 1 o'clock is when I have to make sure I get the fast pass for it. And I've actually gotten fast pass for it this past September when we went. I got a fast pass for it when we started out at a different park. So I used my 3 fast passes at a different park. They said, hey, we're going to go watch Illuminations. I got on the phone. It was probably 2 o'clock in the afternoon and got us fast passes for Illuminations at Epcot. So you just gotta, I would say it's not worth wasting one of your main fast passes, not being able to do anything the rest of the day with fast passes.
Right.
But it was an incredible view. It was the best view. I've seen that show a lot. It was definitely the best view, except for the guy standing in front of me. It was definitely the best view I've ever had.
Okay. All right. Great. So yeah, that kind of answers that question. You know what else I really like? I just like walking. Speaking of nighttime shows, I agree with you. Just going in these parks at night, it doesn't matter which park it is, they're all so beautiful. It's kind of a show in and of itself.
Oh yeah.
You know, it really is. The parks are so beautiful at night. I actually prefer the parks. My 2 favorite time in any of the parks is very early in the morning or at night.
Yep.
At just the morning is a whole nother subject. And I know we're after 9, and I appreciate everyone for being here over. But I did want to touch on Magic Kingdom and their nighttime shows, Steve. What are your thoughts on the nighttime shows over there?
Before I jump to that, Meg just asked how early should she get there. She's asking for a friend. We got there an hour and 10 minutes, and we just happened to see them setting up, and we jumped in line. And as soon as we were first in line, as soon as we got in line, the line just went straight behind us. It's like when they see somebody line up, everybody does. So,
yeah.
But over at Magic Kingdom, you know, I saw Wishes. And don't get me wrong, when I had Fantasmic and I had Illuminations, and this is before Animal Kingdom started staying open late and having a show, but now that they have Rivers of Light, there's something extra special to those 3 to me. They're just different. Wishes was okay, but I love Happily Ever After with the new projections and the way they do things on that and a lot of that's with the progression of technology. Mm-hmm. But see you, Jeff. Thanks, buddy.
Take care, Jeff.
But I prefer Happily Ever After over Wishes. And I know that's maybe not a popular decision, but I think the projections they do, I think the new music they use, and I think the way the fireworks are done is just a lot better. It just immerses you into a different, kind of a more, just a better experience. You get a better experience with all the different elements.
Gotcha. No, I agree. It's my, Meg's heading out too. Thanks, Meg. Take care. Thanks for being here. We're just about ready to get off. No, I agree. I have to agree with you. I totally, Happily Ever After is by far my favorite nighttime show, period. I like it a lot better than Wishes. Wishes was okay to me, but I love this show. I think it's my absolute favorite. So it's so beautiful, so wonderful. The music's incredible. It gives you such a good feel afterwards. And they left Tink in there. It's kind of a nod to Wishes as well. It's just such a great show.
Yeah, it is. Yes, absolutely.
Yep. I agree 100%. Well, everybody, that's it for tonight. I don't want to hold y'all. I know we're past 9 o'clock. We definitely wanted to get some Disney talk in there. I hope everybody enjoyed the topic tonight. It was a little controversial. I appreciate and respect everybody's opinions in the chat, and we really are thankful that everybody respected ours back. It was very cordial. It was a lot of good information on both sides. And I think that we really enjoyed it, and I hope that everybody in the chat did too. Thank you to everybody, and thank you all for being here. I want to say thank you to Chris Disney World Adventures for that super chat. That was very generous. Steve, any last things you want to promote your channel, buddy?
Just Monday's topic, we will be celebrating the 30th anniversary of Hollywood Studios. Just going over all the attractions that from where they started to where they are now, and what's been replaced and so forth. So I think the 30th anniversary is next Wednesday, May 1st. And then and my 500 sub giveaway ends next Friday. So if you've not got entered into that, please do. Gotcha. All right. And then other than that, guys, again, I just want to say something real fast. Art Jones is saying Myers and the Mouse is live for Happily Ever After if you guys want to head on over there after us. But again, everybody, thank you for coming in here. Please give us a thumbs up before you head out. And Tuesdays and Thursdays, Melissa and I will be live. We hope you guys come out. We just posted our most recent podcast. Please go out and check that out. We definitely want to try to integrate that into our daily routine as much as we can as well and get that off the ground.
But thank you, everybody, for joining us. We had a great time tonight, and we'll see you all Monday on Steve's channel for his Monday Night Madness. And until then, take care of yourselves and each other, and we'll talk to you all soon.
Bye,
Bye
guys.
everybody.